This is what we judge in conformation. There's 7 traits in conformation and 7 in fiber, so that it's balanced. It's 50% meat goat, 50% fiber. And so we look at the head, and you just want the head. There's one goat in here that the horns has a little bit off, but what you're thinking when you're thinking about a goat's horns, Cashmere goat, I think all goats are, I don't know of any polled goat herds. I think they all have horns, and we don't take them off. Most of us, it's not against the rules to take them off or anything. But one reason we keep them is because they, for about at least a third of the way out, they have blood flow, and that helps them control their temperature, and as well as defending themselves if they need to. Usually against each other. Yeah, that's great. Ann and Bob do a lot more handling. They're the superintendents of the Estes Park show right here, and we come in and we. They look at us like, why? It's right there. So I think we're the wishes on that end, but anyway, that's what we do. Okay, so on the head, it's hard not to have a perfect head. I mean, what are you going to do? A dish face? A Roman nose? It doesn't matter. That would be faulty. Is she here? That would, if she's asking about a crooked jaw, that would interfere with them. Remember, they're ruminants. They don't have any teeth up here. And so they swallow everything, and they bring it back up, which is hard, but they bring it back up, and they chew their cud. They have very, very strong molars, as my husband can tell you, because he recently got his hand too close to one, and he got really ill. And of course, some of us were giggling because he's the expert. He's going, oh man! Anyhow, then we get down to teeth, which is what we come up with. And they want to be flush with the dental pad. This is the dental pad up here. And so we'll look at those teeth. We'll show you on every goat. We've got 3 we're going to do now that belong to Lisa Ferguson, who laughing stock? Laughing goat. She's nearby, and she was kind enough to bring some goats in. Pam Handel was on the last one. She owns those for her now on sabbatical. So that's what you want to do. And again, we score this. We'll see. I don't know what the age of these goats are, but if they're not full-mouthed, till they're 6 years old, they don't have a full mouth. Every year, they're transitioning some teeth. And so if that comes through, we can make comments how it looks like everything's fitting, but it's a non-applicable. It's an NA. They don't get a positive or a negative on that because you can't really assess it very well. The same thing when we get down later. So those are the main things you want to do. If there's a flare against the dental pad where they're going out, it's going to increase over age. And their bottom teeth are where they grip a lot of things. And so that's really important. That's how they get their food, is by bringing it in that way. Then if you skip down to feet, their feet should be well balanced to their body. They carry about 70% of their weight on the front. And so you want the front hooves to have a nice round clove shape. We'll look at it on these goats. And be good proportion to their size. So that they're nice. I like a nice big foot. If I'm prejudiced about anything, I'm about those feet.
Western length? Worry about Western
We don't really worry about it, but we note it when we're looking at the legs. And we'll see that out here. I haven't seen anybody who had a problem with pasterns in the first 4. But I think once it gets into the bloodline, it's hard when it's steep. That's what you're referring to.
Or too long and they back up.
Oh, yeah. I haven't seen that.
I haven't seen them go to teach.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure it'd be there goes too. And the back hooves are generally a little narrower and maybe a little bit smaller because they don't carry as much weight. But then when they're pregnant, you want to be sure they're big enough so that they can maintain that weight when they need to. And then on the reproductive, we check for 2 teats, and on the male's 2 testicles. If the male has a testicle it hasn't dropped down, it really needs to be culled because you could, if you want to have a wether, which is a castrated male, you can't get at the second testicle to remove it, and so that goat can still reproduce. So that's a really important thing. And a doe, if she has a 3rd teat, you think about babies. Think about if you've had babies yourself. They're looking for a teat. It's instinctive. So let's say a baby finds a teat and it doesn't give any milk. So if that baby was in the wild, it's cooked because its instinct is not accurate. like it told me to go look here, but there's nothing here. And there's nothing in this mill. And so we don't generally breed or keep goats that have a third teat. We let them go, just like if we have a goat that has one testicle. Even if he's a fabulous buck, we don't keep him because it's genetic. And we don't want that to spread. We're harder, much harder on bucks than we are on the does. Yes?
Hold the sire of that breed?
I watch for it. Look, I don't have any patterns that happens. I had it just happen not this year, but last year. One buckling just only had one testicle, but there wasn't anything I could find in the line. But I'm watching to see what that doe does on her next kidding, and maybe there's something in her bloodline. So you don't want that to continue for sure.
How do you check for extra teats?
Always. Yeah. 2 bucks, 2 testicles. Two teats, 2 testicles. Yeah, if it's a third teat on a buck, I would not breed a buck with a third teat for sure. A doe, I'd try and figure out what's going on. And if it's a teeny thing that's not going to do anything, I still note it, what happens to her babies. An embarrassing story on my part is, you'll see from the pictures, I like the long guard hair, and I had a doe I was going to check if her udder was full yet. And it was a goat I hadn't bred, and she had 4 full teats. And I never noticed it because I hadn't bred her, and I hadn't checked it when she was born. The rule is you check them, and I hadn't, and she was gorgeous, of course. And there it was, and I photographed it, when we put her down.
As a sheep person, I'm going to say, if it's not sheep, I keep my ewes with extra teats. I don't want them right next to each other, but I have found ewes that have milk in the extra teats. And one time I had a lamb that I think she wouldn't have survived if I didn't have the extra teats. We had twins or triplets, and one of them was tiny, and her regular teats were like the size of my thumb, and she had this extra teat that was little, but that lamb could fit on and get enough milk, and kept her going for the first 3 days. I was monitoring stuff, and then I made sure she got out to the bigger teeth with more milk.
And again, it's just monitoring what's a working teeth, and that's really an important
And
distinction.
sheep are different than goats. So,
Well, everybody's. I was looking at this and asked it. Oh gosh, it's one of the top 50 Holstein breeders in the country. And I said, "Do you ever get like extra teats? The cows have 4." He said, "Oh, all the time. They're born with 6. We snip them." They don't worry about it. The boar goats don't worry about it. But we helped a friend who was raising boar goats, and she was losing animals because of extra teats that had no milk. So anyway.
and Larry can tell you the story of someone who clipped off an extra teeth, and it was the main one.
So anyway, so that's, now if you go back to page 1, because when these goats come out and get looked at, this is a strange environment for them. They may not be relaxed, and they may not move in a way that's easy for us to see their body parts. Okay, and so what we have is the body parts on the back are 4 quarters, barrel back, and hind quarters. And we'll get to them soon, so you don't get too tired. This is Silver Bart. Joe David Ross was one of the founders of the Cashmere goats in the United States, Cashmere America. He was a veterinarian from West Texas, and he put a lot of money into bringing bucks from Australia to cross with the Spanish wild goats. And that was successful, except the big ranchers found that they paid these guys to shear them, and they get paid less than you had to pay them. And so it kind of fizzled on the big ranches. It wasn't economically viable. But for those of us, small farmers, like I talked about this morning, who have herds of up to 50 or 60, Pam has had 75 at times. I don't know how many you guys. So Pam and her husband Bob are the superintendents of the Estes Park show every year. And we get to come out. Anyway, Silver Bart came from Oregon. He was at Goat Knoll Farm in Dallas, Oregon, and Peter and I just started in goats, and I said, I want a long-haired goat, and I want him to be silver. And gray goats had bad fiber. Gray goats, you didn't want to have those. They just weren't any good. And we had big goats, and we were kicked out of the show ring because they were too big, and they never licked the fiber, which happened to be. Anyway, so we still wanted it. And so we actually got a hold of this guy, and then we went out to Texas to meet Joe David and talk with him about what he was doing. And he said, well, I just came down here from Oregon and I saw this fabulous goat, and it was silver bark. So we said, well, we bought it. Anyway, silver bark came to the center. When you're thinking genetics and you're thinking about breeding and you're thinking about culling and crossing this with all, silver bark never had really, really fine fiber. And when we got him at 5 years old, he was in the 17 microns, which is considered medium. And this is early days of Cashmere. We had bought some does, and some were good, but one was 20 microns. You have to be 19 or less. So I bred her with silver bark, and from that bloodline, we never had a goat hit 15 microns. Like they were all 13, all 14. So what's going on? I don't know, but it changed our whole herd. It helped us go out to the next step and be able to develop and go to a goat show and actually place with a silver goat that had been poo-pooed because they weren't black or white maybe. I don't know. Black was perfect. So anyway, that's him. Now some of the things that make him really, really great. One is you see how those horns go down and they curl around. Remember how I said the horns that go into the body are not a good thing? Or that go out like a cow and they can hit each other, did I tell you? Yeah. Oh, I thought that was a second group. But anyway, if the horn comes out and goes out and goes like that, that's a bad thing. Because if they hit another goat in the side, they can cause real abdominal problems. And the herd becomes afraid of them. The other one is, there's one I can show you here. One has horns that kind of go straight up. And so you're standing over and handling them, or standing next to them and handling them, and that horn is right at your abdomen. And if the goat jumps, then you could get hurt. And that's more for the handler, and the other one is more for the other goats. So those are things to watch, and his horns are great. They curl back and they curve around. He's well angled in his shoulders. If you have horses or sheep and look at their conformation, it's all really similar. Good conformation is good conformation. And his nice legs, straight legs in the front. He's got good length. And his back legs are, they're going out. You don't want them to be straight because when they have that angle before the hock, which is like the knee we think of as a knee, and then goes down, then he's got a lot more resilience and moving around back. So that's a lot of why he's really good. He wasn't able to get a buck with short guard hair just because he didn't have any pictures of it. Then there's Remington on the next page. And I think Remington's even a little better. When we were at the goat show last year and that buck walked in the ring, I didn't see anything else. He was just an unbelievable animal. He was solid, well-built. He's got the length. You know, if you're half meat, with 50% fiber, 50% meat, look at the meat that's packed into that loin, which is the tenderest meat on an animal. And his disposition was just like, oh yeah, you know, we're in the ring now. People walk around and call everybody. And he's got big bone. You can't see it real well in the guard here, but his legs are well. Same in front, nice bone. You can see how wide they are between those guards. And I'm doing this because we don't know what those guys are going to show us. So you'll have that when you go home.
All that the very slight break behind the shoulder.
It's normal in a Cashmere. It's expected and assumed, and it's okay. Then on the next page we have Hugo. And what's interesting about this is these are his baby picture. And when they're 2 or 3 weeks old, and I think this is true of horses as well, they almost look proportional to how they're going to look when they're grown up. And you can see him from here to here, how he's very similar. You can tell by the face it's looking at you and saying, come on, and are you bringing a treat? I don't think he's as well built as the other two. I think he's got a bit more slope than he should have in the shoulder. I think his back legs are a little bit straighter than they ought to be. His horns are right now kind of looking like cow horns, but his family, those horns will continue to go out and they'll grow. But there's a period of time where they're a little bit dicey for the other goats. So that's Hugo. Now here's Florence. Florence is another of our goats. She's 1 year old, and she has her fibers 12.1 microns. And that's what happens to you. You get a goat that really, it's going to But look at that fiber. And the other thing is that she has, I don't know, you've probably seen it, those of you that raise a lot of goats, they have a horn that goes out and then it just kind of fizzles at the end. It's small and kind of flat. And my theory on Florence Because there's her full sister from the year before, who's perfectly proportioned and well-built. I think maybe her mom didn't have enough milk. So I'm giving her some time. Now I'm giving her some time because I can't get her probably. I mean, really, but I can't.
Fiber doesn't that make for food?
You might get $25 a year off your fiber if you sell it raw. We take it to the end product. That's a whole other story we'll talk about in the morning when it says fiber. And then you can start to break even or make money. But your money is in breeding stock. Goats you let go, the pelts are very valuable. You can sell a really nice pelt for $500. So that's where some of your income comes in the breeding stock. So that's kind of what. Anyway, now yearlings always go downhill like that anyway, but she's also humpback. She's a little bit ewe-necked, where the neck, instead of arching up, it kind of curls under a little bit. And her legs, you can tell her bone is really light for the size of the goat. And her front legs are a little back of the shoulder, maybe more than they ought to be. It could be how she's standing, and I'm taking full advantage of that to show you what you want to look for, because I don't think any of these, looking at them, I think these goats are all quite nice. And then over here, you can see her in the front, and she's very narrow. The saying goes, you want a Coke can to fit sideways between their front legs. Depends on the goat's size, it seems to me, but she's not proportionally. That's quite narrow. I can't quite hear. Did you say fit sideways? A Coke can. A can of Coke sideways. Joe David Ross would always say that's what you wanted for between their front legs. So you have good breadth of chest. Again, that's a confirmation thing about bearing their weight well, and also 50% meat. You're looking for a good carcass while you're still building these animals. And then over here, her back legs, again, she's narrow. But if you look at it, you'll also see that they're not straight from the hock down. The hock is what looks like kind of a knee in the back. They're kind of going out. I call that hockey. Some people call it sickle hock. You call it cow hock. There's probably cows do that.
I don't know why I grew up learning it was cow hock.
I think I might have too.
Supposed to be.
So what we're going to do is bring some goats out, and we'll take a look at them, and I'm going to show you a little bit about how we handle them, or how I handle them, and then we're going to evaluate them. And they're Lisa's goats, so she's going to be. You want them up to slope, but you don't want it to be steep. And there's a real tendency in our goats to have a steeper rump. How we ended up having it that, but you want a nice round rump.
I wonder about that. When I found out that they tried getting dairy cattle to have a flat rump, and they lost reproductive success. And they went back to a slope.
That's what we're talking about.
And I'm thinking that the steep rump like that, like Florence has, isn't necessarily a good thing. It could relate to higher reproductive success, but the meat judges don't like it.
Well, that's where your carcass, it's your back end. I don't know how many buy carcasses to eat your meat, but it's, the hind quarter is the tenderest, the loin and hind quarter. So they want that rounded. I want it because I grew up with it being a good trait, not to be flat, but like Arabian horses.
See, I like the tuners with the steep slope.
Well, good. And you see how I hold her? Really comfortable. So her horns are great. They're curving right now. They're going to the meat. This one was problems just with age. Okay, I can tell by feeling. What do you think? Pretty good. They're a little on the side. She's 3.5 inches less to change. So she'll be changing those. But yeah, they feel quite nice. Right on the side. She's getting very close. So teeth are a big deal. Because that's how they crop everything. And it's hard not to work. I'm a very lenient grade. Okay, so while we're there, we'll turn around, we'll look. Just be looking at her and see what you think of her. So that's really pretty. Still, you can't go back in yet. Okay, okay, I come and look. And this foot. Okay, this foot is a good size. It's quite narrow. Okay, it wants to be round. That this one is a little bit narrow. The back foot, that was on the back of the foot. This one. I know. Okay. She needs a bit of a trim, which makes it a little harder to see the essence of the hook. So that's her back feet were back here, they'd be perfect. This is quite narrow. And so her feet would get a downgraded score somewhat for being narrow. No, you're a good girl. I'm just checking for some teeth. And she has 2 teeth, so she's fine on reproductive, and she has babies. Now you get to leave her around. So take her around over there and we'll watch her. So watch how she moves. So this baby does without her moms. Okay, so I'll just tell you what I see on this goat, and then as we go forward, you can start telling me what you think. I think that she's nice and straight back. Might be going a little bit uphill, and I think that's a nice. For me, that's a nice look. I like that amount of curvature between the top of the heel and the spurs. So she's quite nice. I think she's a tiny bit narrow chested, and that'll carry back to her back. Her back legs are really, really close, but it's funny that her right foot goes out a bit, so that would be a minor. So all in all, she's quite good. I would definitely want to trim the hoops and then see if that changes her stance at all. And if I was Peter, I'd be getting the nippers and making him watch me do it, but I'm not going to do that. But that's not what we're trying to do in here so much. And her hoops aren't over, I mean, they're due for a trim, but they're not anything. If you go to the trimming, you'll see a set of hoops that's quite impressive. Now this, I did very proud. Wait. These horns are very, very popular. When they come like this and they curl like that, people say it's very feminine, very pretty. I like them too, but I'm not quite as fussy about horses. Yeah, she's pissed off, especially that right there. That's not pissed off.
Really? They can make
She's cursing her lips. She's not thinking this is the best thing she's done this week. So you don't get extra points for blue eyes, but in a black goat, it's really pretty, isn't it? Nice. Now she's 4 years old, so she's still not full too. She has, what do you think? What's an underbite? Does it go the bottom go out? Yeah. She's what I call it a flare. Okay, she's got it all the way around. If you want to step close, you'd see it really well from the bottom. That's a very common. But that's what she has there, and she's 4 inches really a little wary, looking for predators. But that's something to pay attention to, because as they age, that flare is going to increase. And they're full toothed at 6 years.